Hi, welcome to Motivating Your Child, Reinforcement and Reward Systems at Home. My name is Caitlin Wilder. I'm a member of the MMPS Behavior Support Team. We're a cluster-based team that provides support for individual students, classroom teachers, and whole school buildings with any and all things behavioral. We're a member of the Social Emotional Learning Department, and we're housed within the Department of Support Services. With all the changes in the world and the shift to virtual learning, we thought that it would be helpful to give families some tips on how they can use reward systems that we use in schools in their home to help motivate their child to complete their tasks. So what is reinforcement? Reinforcement is just a fancy behavioral word for anything that happens after a behavior and increases the chance that the behavior will happen again in the future. Most reinforcement occurs naturally throughout the course of our day, whether it's saying hello to someone to get that social reinforcement of having a conversation, whether it's me preparing for this presentation so that all my coworkers will tell me what a wonderful job I did. We contact lots of reinforcement naturally just as we go along. But in schools, we plan it to help build up new or difficult behaviors. We sometimes refer to it as rewards, but I don't want you to think about a reward as being something huge or extra that you have to go out and get, but maybe just using things that you already have and saying, instead of automatically getting all of those things, we're going to earn them with hard work and good character, which is a lot more like real life than just getting things automatically. And so why use a reward system? A reward system can help increase desired behaviors like completing work or staying on task. It can help increase motivation and perseverance for new or difficult skills. It allows their child to see their progress towards a goal. We'll talk about systems that can help visualize progress in the next few slides. And then it allows your child to practice setting goals by working with them to help find something that will work for them. So using a reward system, we want you to keep it simple and involve your child in setting up the system. Over time, you can increase your expectations and you can reduce extra rewards that you're providing. Our tips for setting up a reward system are including your child in choosing the rewards that they want to use. If they help choose them, then they'll be more likely to work for them because we know it's something that they actually want. If we don't want it, we're probably not going to do something in order to get it. You need to set a goal with your child for what they must do in order to earn the reward. If they help set it, then they'll be less likely to think that it's an unreasonable goal. You don't need to overthink your rewards. Keep it simple and use activities that your child already has access to. So if your child is already playing video games, watching TV, getting special snacks that they really like, really just anything that you would see in your house as a privilege is something that you can use as a reward and have them work for. Over time, your requirements for earning your rewards can change as your child is able to work for larger amounts of time and complete more tasks. It's important when we start that we want goals to be attainable. If it's too hard and they fail too often, then they'll start feeling lost and not wanting to try to work for it anymore. We can see our examples on the left. Things that we often use are coupons. They meet a certain criteria and they get a coupon for an activity that they can hold on to and then turn in later. We also see a system where a child is required to get a certain number of checks before they earn a reward. So maybe initially they start off earning 3 checks in order to get something. Then after they're successful with that, they have to earn 5, and then later on they have to earn 10. So increasing the difficulty of it as we go along. Your presentation, we want you to choose a system that works with what you have available and is something that your child will be able to understand. There are lots of different types of reward systems. We'll talk about those in some of the next few slides. They do not need to be complicated. You can use household objects, and then making sure to use behavior-specific praise so the child understands why they're earning. So the example we have here on the left is pom-poms in a jar. You don't have to have fancy colored pom-poms. You can use cotton balls. You can use whatever objects that you can find around your house to fill this jar. You do want to consider the size of your objects. If you have a very big jar and you have teeny tiny objects, it will take them a lot longer to reach the top. You can break your jar down into sections with tape and say, when we get to this level, we're going to get this reward. When we fill up this far, we'll get this reward, and keep going as you get to the top. And just remember that this is a visual. So you want to place this next to your child's workstation or wherever they'll be able to easily see it, and then to use your behavior specific praise. So every time they meet an expectation and you put a cotton ball in the jar, you say, hey, great job staying in your workspace. You've earned a cotton ball. We only have a few more until we get to this level, and we can do a special activity together. A point system is another example of something we use often. It's a targeted goal to earn a reward, and you want to have set criteria for earning a point. So an example of that is 1 point per assignment and 10 points equaling extra TV time. We can see on the left that we've created a menu with a variety of tasks that a child would complete throughout the day, and each of those tasks has a prearranged point value for what they earn if they complete that task. They can keep those points in a bank, and then on the right of that chart, there is an option for rewards and then how much each of those things cost. It is important to consider that if you're going to use something as a reward, that you may want to restrict access to that thing otherwise, because if playing video games for 30 minutes is your reward to purchase, but then often they end up playing video games all day anyway for free, that's not going to be something that they're likely to work for or to choose. So just remember that if you are using it as a reward, then you want to make sure that they don't have open access to it all the time, or it won't really be special anymore. Another example is a level system. In a level system, a larger amount of a reward is earned based on your performance. So the more work you complete means the more video game time that you will have. In this system, you can see that all of the levels require the child to complete all of their work for the day and attend all of their classes. What's changing about it is the level of arguing that you're receiving. So if there's only some arguing, you only get 20 minutes of video game time. If it's just a little bit, you can have an hour. But if you do it without arguing at all, that you can have free time for the rest of the day. Likewise, if your arguing is constant, we may not even get to level 1. We may not get any video time that day. So it's just a tool to help your child earn the things that are available in their household. Another example is a token board. A token is an object to help visualize progress towards a reward. This is great for younger children because the concept of earning a point and then keeping those points that you can't see and then spending them on something later on is kind of abstract and also maybe a bit delayed. They may need something faster. So we can see that one token board has been themed like trains, because maybe that child really likes trains. And then each time they follow a rule or meet a requirement, they can place a train token on that board. And then once we've obtained all 5 of those tokens, we can get the reward that they've chosen, which is iPad. Another is a game board style, where they're going to get a star and then progress towards that goal of free time with every token that they earn. And then another is just a very simple version where they have handwritten 5 squares and then chosen the reward of Play-Doh. And then each time that child meets an expectation, they can get a check in that box paired with the behavior specific praise, or the why of why they're receiving that token. When they get to 5, they get the reward, and then you can start all over again. Another strategy is a first then. You can do this on a board. We have some examples of those. It's one of the easiest systems that there is. It's great if your child only struggles with 1 or 2 things as opposed to struggling throughout the day or with many things. It's first work and then a reward. It's not a schedule or something that you should have to use all day long. So an example is first to complete science, then we go outside. Another example are the pictures where it shows first the student working and then going outside. Or another very simple version is just writing it on a piece of paper and then saying, first, we're going to do these math problems, and then we're going to finish that Lego set that we started together. This is the word of 2020, flexibility. It is very important to be flexible. If something doesn't work automatically, we don't just want to throw it out the window. We want to make a modification and we want to try it again. We want to provide choices and goal settings, and we also want to provide reward options. If something isn't working, try a small adjustment before you change the system entirely or before you stop trying. So considerations, you want to consider the frequency of when you're providing rewards. Does your child need a reward after every activity? Can they handle having a reward at the end of the day? Some students are able to wait all week long and then earn one larger reward after the completion of all of their classes for the week. It just depends on what your child needs. You definitely want to provide options for rewards and allow your child to change their mind. You want to celebrate small improvements and reward your child's effort. So maybe you're having lots of difficulties during school time. Not only are we not getting any work done, but we're not even like staying in our seat and watching the class. So maybe that's where you start. Maybe you start by reinforcing them simply staying in their workspace and keeping their eyes on the computer. And then maybe later on, we start rewarding being in your workspace, looking at the computer, and also completing your work and getting all of it done accurately. Sometimes you need to take smaller steps in order to get into the larger thing that we ultimately want to achieve. If you try a system for a few days and it isn't helping, try adjusting your available rewards or how often the child is able to earn. So if you started off saying they need to complete all of their assignments for the day in order to do something and that's not working, then maybe you want to start with the first half of the day. We need to complete your first half of the day's classes and your work, then we'll earn a reward, then complete the afternoon sessions and then earn another reward. Age considerations, you want to consider what your child is already motivated to do independently when setting goals and deciding on a system. So depending on their age and their development, they may need rewards more or less often, which is what we discussed in the last slide. You definitely want to ask your child what types of things that they want to work for, because if they choose them, you know that they really want them, and then you also know that they'll be more excited about earning them. You want to ensure that the expectations that you have for your child are appropriate for their age and aligned with their current abilities. You don't want to have them trying to obtain a goal that's too hard for them because they're more likely to get frustrated. Absolutely remember to reward effort. If we're having a lot of behaviors where they're not even staying in their seat, then that's where you want to start with them, is just to reward them staying in their seat. And then we can move on later to rewarding work completion. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can email familysupport@mmps.org. We thank you very much for joining us today.